If you're happy and you know it, go to school. If you're happy and you know it, go to school. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, go to school.
When kids go to school, they learn. When they're in school more, they learn more. When they learn more, their behavior improves. They're more motivated to learn and pushed to succeed in high school and beyond.
I want to be a doctor when I grow up. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a dentist when I grow up. I will be a fireman. I want to be a teacher like my mom. I want to be a football player.
How do we help kids achieve their dreams? Readiness rocks!
This movement that we're making now would not be possible without a group of special people who trust and are willing to support these efforts. The Board of Education in Rockford Public Schools, led by Harmon Mitchell as the board president, has been superb in terms of supporting and encouraging, and when the pressure comes on, they do the right thing for children. So at this time, I'd just like all board members to please stand and receive a round of applause. Okay, thank you. And then the leadership team that John mentioned, I'd like that team to stand up. All the administrators in the district, would you please stand? Thank you. John Quincy Adams, many, many years ago, made this comment. If your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and to become more, you are a leader. And there's another table I want to recognize, and it's over here. It's a table of teacher leaders. Those leaders who make sure that dreams keep coming in the lives of children, that they keep helping children learn more and to do more with that learning and to become more than they ever hoped they could become. So would Karen Bishke and your group please stand? John made some comments about my mom and dad. And as he mentioned, my dad was the custodian in high school. But it goes a little deeper than that. This is way back in the 30s when times were really tough. His dad was the custodian in high school. And his dad suddenly passed away of a heart attack. I think my father was the latter part of his junior year, going into his senior year in high school. Now, the superintendent of schools back in those days enjoyed my family so much that he offered the job to my father because he knew he was the eldest of 8 children and would be the only support because his mother had polio and they lived on the second floor of a house and she could not get up and down the stairs to go to work. So he drops out of high school to become a custodian. My mom graduated from high school. She went to work in a number of different jobs, ended up with a pharmaceutical company in the bookkeeping office. Now, together they had this dream, as John mentioned, that my brother and I would both be the first in our family to go to college. And their dream came true. I think the proudest moment in my father's life was when I walked across the University of Minnesota commencement stage ceremony and received my PhD in education. He cried in that audience. That's the power of dreams. That's the power of what we can do when we really dream something and then we have a system in place that helps us believe that we really can achieve that dream. Too many kids have dreams. These young kids in that video, that was so powerful. Kids know what they want to do. It may not be the precise career, but they know that they want to do something with their life. And many children who are here in their development, and they want to go to here when they get older, have the kind of support systems in place that will get them from here to there. But unfortunately, many children today in our public schools do not have that system in place to help them take those necessary steps so that they can achieve their dream. This is what servant leadership is really all about. And what better place to give a talk on servant leadership than at a Chamber of Commerce event? Because you are business leaders, and you thrive on meeting other people's needs. And it's through servant leadership that you become the world's best listener to your customer, to understand what those needs are, so that you can better meet those needs. And the more people's needs you meet, the more effective your company becomes, and prosperity comes to you. But the secret is you seek out the needs of your customers first, and you satisfy those needs, and then it comes back. That's servant leadership. You serve your customers. Rockford Public Schools, we're not doing a very good job at serving our customers. We're not doing a very good job at understanding what our customers' needs are. But that's changing, because we are becoming better listeners. And we are helping kids be able to dream. We are helping kids be able to learn more. We are helping kids be able to do more with that learning. And hopefully we can help them become more than they ever hoped they could become. But we can't do it alone. We can't do it as a school system alone. We need everybody in this community to step up and say, yes, I'm in. Together we can make this happen for our community. These 5 rocks that we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes are really a plan to drive the economic recovery that Einar talked about earlier. All the stars are kind of in line, in alignment, but there needs to be some driving force that takes that alignment and focuses it and targets it towards prosperity for everyone. Not just a few, everyone. We have banners up here. And I'm going to step back a little bit and let another video clip run. Everybody knows that story. It's an old story. But it's so true even today, because there are giants in our community. There are bad giants. The giants of hopelessness, the giants of despair, the giants of poverty, the giants of unemployment, the giants of underemployment, the giants of violence. But the good news is there are also giants that are good giants. The giants over here of dreams, of respect, of college, of hope. Every one of us in this room has had good giants in our lives to help us get from here to where we want to be. I want to acknowledge one giant in my life, my wife Judy. She is a true giant that stands for everything that's right about being a mother, being a wife, being a daughter, being a sister, being a grandmother. All of those qualities of being a good giant. But we do have some bad giants that we need to slay. Just like David slayed that giant in that video. How many of you know how many rocks David had in his pouch? Call it out. 5 rocks. He had 5 rocks. He was a small, young boy who challenged this great giant who stood over 9 feet tall. In those days, 9 feet tall was really, really a giant. Today we see basketball players that are 7'3", 7'4", 7'5". We think they're tall. Add 2 feet on top of that. That's how big that giant was. And when that giant charged David, 1 stone slayed that giant. And guess what? We've got 5 rocks to slay the giants in our community. The first rock is career and college readiness, which means that every child, when they leave us as a senior, will be ready for college and careers. There's no excuse for a child to become a senior in high school and be reading at 5th or 6th grade level. It's unacceptable. We will have benchmarks for success from the time a child enters kindergarten through the time they leave us as high school seniors that will keep on track their progress. And when they falter, we'll be there with support systems in place to help keep them going. We will not tolerate kids being not ready when they leave us 12 or 13 years later. College and career readiness also implies community partnerships. Running Start, the engineering and science program at Rock Valley College, Rockford College, and Northern Illinois University, in close partnership with helping kids choose that opportunity to become educated in a bachelor's degree in engineering or science, depending on which school they go to. I had the privilege of meeting with Dave Morgan in my office this past week, and he talked about the Surgeons of Steel manufacturing program. And I thought about it, Surgeons of Steel. That's what manufacturing is nowadays. My uncle, Judy's uncle Nick, for many, many years, pulled the arm on a press and pushed out rubber stamps for his life. It's not like that anymore. Manufacturing is not like that anymore. Manufacturing is computer assisted. You have to be trained. You can't just come out of high school and take a manufacturing job. So you have to make sure that these kids that come into our system have opportunities to interact with what's expected in the workplace. Because it's too late once you get out not to have had that kind of opportunity. College and career readiness. Here are some thoughts from community members about this rock.
Why is it important for us as a business? We are in a strong need of talented engineers, and the word talent has a strong meaning for me. I cannot, with good conviction, talk about leading this business into the future if I don't find above average, and what I mean by that is talented engineers and other disciplines that work with me in this company here.
When we talk about economic development nowadays, we can't talk about it without talking about education first, because it does no good to bring companies or expand companies if we can't provide the workforce.
The building and road contractors whom I represent have, and for many, many decades, been supportive of an energized career education component at Rockford Public Schools. We've had fits and starts, but nothing at the level and potential dimension that you're talking about now. And it's pretty exciting.
Well, I've seen 205 do a lot of involvement with the local entities already, whether it be Rockford College, RVC, Northern Illinois, which Embry-Riddle has always strived to be some sort of strategic partner with those as we evolve our programs here. We have exposed the aviation concept to Dr. Willis and his team, and they have embraced it overwhelmingly, and we're in discussions about starting that initiative in 2013.
Rock number 1, college and career readiness. Rock number 2, 7 periods to success. This is the offering of an extra period during the school experience for children, where they have that extra opportunity to experience fine arts in greater depth, foreign languages, more advanced placement, honors, and dual credit offerings, more support in English, more support for those that are struggling learners, middle school opportunities to earn high school credit because of rigorous, challenging curricula, an exploratory wheel where students examine a variety of options to find out what may just trigger an interest in learning for them. And also, again, at the middle school level, more support for students at both ends of the achievement curriculum. Because we've got struggling learners, we've got accelerated learners, and everyone in between. And we have to be able to listen to their needs and serve those needs. Here are some reactions from the community on this rock.
And isn't it nice to be able to go to our class guide for next year and look and see all the courses that are listed there to choose from that the students can take in their new 7th hour that begins next school year. What a wonderful feeling for the parents to be able to get their students on track, possibly in the career of choice that early in school here in our middle schools and high schools by picking courses that take advantage of the 7th hour.
The 7th hour is wonderful because it allows these students to have additional support in some of the areas or subject areas that they haven't had a lot of support in. Right now, with 6 hours, they're limited to the classes that they can take. Some of them are coming out of bilingual, or some of them are receiving both, are in the bilingual program and receive both classes in Spanish and some in English. The 7th period will allow them to have additional classes where they can supplement with, supplement in the English area, receive more classes.
As we look at these readiness rocks, I think that the one that everyone can agree on is the fact that having another period, having a 7th period, just makes eminent sense. It allows our children to be able to get the help they need if they need help. It allows them to be able to take the electives they need if they want to go further in their education.
The Arts Council and me personally, we're thrilled with the reinstatement of the 7th period day. The hope is that this is just a stepping stone to having the arts back in the schools across the board. So this is a very exciting movement forward, and we're happy to be part of it.
It's interesting, I just one last comment on the 7th period day. Julie Palkowski, our fine arts coordinator, informed me yesterday that we just received a partnership grant with the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts in New York City to help with professional development. To bring back the arts into Rockford Public Schools. And it took courage on the part of the school board to do this, because this was a hefty price tag of $6 million attached to this, but they believed that this was in the best interest of children. Because we know that children who come with a performing arts, of whatever the arts are, the visual arts background, they think better, they act better, and they make better decisions. And that's the kind of student we want in our schools. And that's what this involvement can begin. 21st century schools, 21st century learning environments that are flexible, that instead of having one plug in the front of the room and one receptacle in the back of the room, instead of having heating systems that are 40, 50 years old, single pane windows where the energy just flies out into the environment, wasteful. East High School, West Middle School, and Lincoln Middle School, those 3 schools account for close to 25% of our natural gas costs because of these very features: antiquated heating systems, old windows, poor insulation. 25% in those 3 buildings. The average life age of our school buildings, I think, is somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 years. We've got a great deal of deferred maintenance that we need to address, and one of the ways to do not only addressing the deferred maintenance, but to bring our schools up into a 21st century learning environment where walls can be flexibly moved when business comes in and wants to create a learning lab. If a company wants to come in and create a zero gravity room, we have the capacity to reconfigure our space to meet that business's desire to help kids have that kind of experience. We're estimating the cost to be close to $120 million over a 10-year period. There's such a fantastic interest rate on bonds today that we can do all of the work that we need to do in our schools, all of the work, and not raise taxes 1 penny to do it. That's the challenge. And that's what we're going to do. The voters will say yes, because it makes too much sense to say no. It makes too much sense not to say yes. But just think about this. $120 to $130 million worth of economic stimulus into our workplace. Jobs for electricians, for plumbers, for pipe fitters, for excavators, for masons. Our own community providing its own stimulus. We're not waiting for Washington, we're not waiting for Springfield, we're doing it ourselves because we know that the theme of this entire 5-rock approach is together we can. We're not going to wait for anybody to do it for us. We're going to do it to ourselves because together we can do it. Here are some community members supporting this rock.
Our schools are well maintained with the mechanicals, but the environment needs a lot of improvement. So I'm excited that environment really does matter, and one of the main initiatives that the school is undertaking now is directing capital, resources, time, and energy to create an environment where it matters to kids and their learning experience goes up, and it matters to teachers and their teaching experience goes up, and it matters to community.
Creating 21st century learning environments are going to benefit the students in order for them to succeed at school, but also in their career of their choice, and it's going to be benefit everyone, the whole economy, all of us.
We want to be able to project the best of our community when we're promoting us, and that includes public education. So having 21st century learning environments, having great sports facilities at our schools for our students, having great classroom experiences and arts experiences enables us to really speak with confidence about our community. So when people ask us about our schools, when they ask about education, when they ask about culture and sports, the whole package is something that we can proudly proclaim that Rockford is excelling at.
The fourth rock, preschool for all. Every single student in our community has a preschool experience. There's a ton of research that talks about the value of preschool education in the lives of children. And as they become adults, they are more effective, they are more powerful, they have greater income earning potential because of these early interventions. The American Academy of Pediatrics just published an article about the toxic stress that occurs in the life of children with poverty, from poverty. And this stress occurs even prenatally, when there's a sense of persistent threats with little or no protection. Children become more likely to struggle in school and to defy authority and to have short tempers. We have one of the best preschool programs in the state of Illinois, recognized by the Illinois State Board of Education as the #1 early childhood program. We're used as a model for other schools that are looking into creating these kinds of programs. We need to do more. We have a waiting list of children who want to get into preschools, but we can't provide it yet. We have to close that waiting gap. Frederick Douglass once said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." How true that is. And it's much cheaper to do it at that age. Listen to the support from some community members on preschool for all.
The earlier you can reach a student to give them an opportunity to develop learning skills and social skills and learn what it's like to be in a classroom and profit from them, the better the result will be, not just in the first grade, but in the 8th grade and in high school. So this idea of preschool for all in Rockford is a sensible investment in the future that will pay off.
Preschool for All initiative means to me equality for all students as it relates to education with District 205. Regardless or in spite of what side of town they live on, that simply means that all students will have access to a quality education.
And what we know is factually is the kids who have not had that experience are behind. And once they're behind in kindergarten and first grade, they tend to stay behind. So if you're behind in kindergarten, you're behind in first grade, you're going to be behind in 5th grade, you're going to be behind in 8th grade, you're going to be behind when you get to high school. Chances are, maybe not always. So what we want to do is we don't want that disparity to exist.
Our 5th and final Readiness Rock is College for All. This is the one that's so critical to the whole package, because this is the one that's the slayer of the giant of hopelessness. This is the one that says to every single child that your community wraps its arms collectively around you and says, yes, you can go to college. Poverty is not a barrier to your obtaining a higher education. We're here to support you with financial assistance, regardless of your income level. But parents and children must earn this assistance. This is not a hand out, but rather a hand up to help kids become better at what they want to become. Good grades, good behavior, community service, a commitment to return to Rockford, to live and work and to contribute to the life of the community may very well be parts of this Rockford challenge of College for All. This is a big one, a huge one. But just to show you a little progress that we've made without even formally organizing ourselves yet to do this. Judson University, the president, Jerry Kane, was in my office this past week, and he came with a team with a package to offer $100,000 worth of scholarship assistance for kids who attend Judson College because they wanted to get behind this effort. Well, we talked a little bit about around the table, and the 5 rocks were presented and how it creates this synergy for economic redevelopment within our community to serve as a magnet to attract businesses to our community. He left with a commitment of $1 million. But he says, I got to go back with my people and crunch the numbers. Well, the next morning, email, we're in for $1 million. Dr. Robert Head from Rockford College emails me and calls me today. He says, I've got to talk to you before the meeting tonight. I've got to talk to you before the meeting tonight. I finally made contact with him. Rockford College, $2 million. Dream big. Work hard at those dreams. Believe those dreams can come true, and they will come true. But only as a total community working together can we make this happen. Together we can. One last piece on this one. There's a movement in the works that could lead to every preschool student being adopted by local families in this community, so that after 14 years in this school district, counting pre-K through senior, there will be a scholarship fund waiting for that student so that college is possible. They're adopting it every month. This will allow us to slay that giant of hopelessness that is in the lives of so many of our children. Here's some thoughts from the community on Rockford for All, College for All.
I've talked about it in my State of the City addresses for the last couple of years, the need to become a college town and the need to increase the availability of higher education opportunities, but also the funding side for higher education.
50% of the jobs that are going to be available in 10 years' time have not even been conceived yet. Without a college education, without having the ability to be able to think, be flexible, be prepared for a completely changing world, I believe we are really shortchanging our children.
We are really excited about supporting this initiative, College for All, and post-secondary education, because this means that they're thinking about our community's future. And with a College for All and post-secondary education opportunities, what we're doing is strengthening our kids and strengthening our community.
These 3 Marines served together for 13 months in Iraq during very heavy fighting. They slayed many giants of oppression, violence, abuse, and hopelessness. And by the way, one of these Marines is right here tonight in our midst. Would that Marine please stand? Would that Marine's son please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, that is my son, Robert Henry Willis, Jr., and his son, Robert Henry Willis, III. Rob and I have shared so much about leadership during the time he served in the Marine Corps, 28 years, retiring as a lieutenant colonel. Working for the government in the same building that he served in to keep that continuity of support to troops in the field. Rob used to tell me about the leadership development of Marines and how it's changing over time. And he said there are 2 basic principles that guide Marines as they begin boot camp until they leave the Marine Corps. And those 2 points are: 1, mission accomplishment. Accomplish your mission at all cost. And number 2, protect your fellow Marines. Never leave a Marine injured in the field. And there are countless stories about Marines, white, black, Hispanic, rich, poor, dodging bullets, pulling young Marines back off the field into safety. If they're good enough to do that, to support and to protect the backs of their fellow Marines, we owe that to our community, to drag our battle-worn and our injured children off the battlefield of life and wrap our arms around them and say, we care about you. We're going to do this for you because together we can do what we have to do. Here's a video to close.
My initial reaction was, wow, Readiness rocks. What a concept. What a wonderful concept for our community, our school district, and the students that go to school here.
Readiness rocks.
Readiness rocks.
I think everybody in the state, certainly folks in northern Illinois, know how tough it is with the economy right now. 14% unemployment, sometimes even higher. And when you start looking for solutions, you end up at the schoolhouse door. You know that you have to start with education and training so that you have a workforce ready to compete, ready to perform, ready to build not only businesses but the community. Readiness Rocks in the Rockford School District is an indication of a turnaround that is long overdue.
Readiness Rocks.
I think the community is waiting for that kind of strength and that kind of leadership and that kind of passion and that kind of insight and that kind of vision.
Readiness Rocks.
Readiness Rocks.
As business leaders here in the community, we need to share this responsibility.
Readiness rocks.
Readiness rocks.
Readiness rocks.
I think the district has gone about this in an absolutely wonderful way because they're not telling the community what to do. they're inspiring the community to be engaged with what they're doing.
Readiness rocks.
Readiness rocks.
Family and I have been in Rockford since 1987, and this is the first time since 1987 that I've actually seen the whole community come together.
It's essential to all our futures that we all join in and join this very critical component of the future of our community.
I think the current administration has done an excellent job of involving the community, and we know from our past experience that if the community is involved, it's going to work. And I really feel that this is the strongest move forward that we've seen with the school district, and again, happy to be part of it.
Readiness rocks.
Readiness rocks.
For us to achieve sustained success, I think it's got to be shared success, and we have to have shared ownership opportunities for our community to really feel that the schools are our schools, they're not some special interest schools, that we're working on these challenges together, and we're creating great opportunities for all of our people.
Readiness rocks.
Readiness rocks.
Readiness rocks! Are you ready to rock?
Talk is cheap. Readiness rocks on the count of 3, because together we can. 1, 2, 3. Readiness rocks.
Dr. Willis, thanks to you, thanks to the school board, thanks to administrative leaders, and thanks to our education leaders as well. We have got a great plan, and we need all of the help to get behind it, so let's get going.